Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show 179, and I'm pumped you're here today because today we are interviewing who I would consider a gateway drug to laundromats here, actually. And it's Michael Hoffman, Mr. Passive. And we talk about various different passive income streams. And I use that word very loosely. He uses that word very loosely. I know the joke going around about laundromats being quote unquote passive. However, we're going to talk about vending machines today, which again are not passive per se. However, they do disconnect money earning from time. And I guess that's the definition I'm going to go with for this. And I would also use for laundromats. They disconnect the money you earn from the time you put in. There's not a one-to-one correlation there. So that's what we're going with. And today we're talking a lot about vending machines. And this episode will be great if you are a laundromat owner and you have vending machines or you're thinking about getting vending machines. We talk a lot about how to optimize your vending and all that stuff. So there's a lot of great stuff there if you already own laundromats. If you're looking to get in the laundromat business and maybe you don't have a ton of capital at the moment, vending might be an intriguing way for you to get your foot in the door and make some progress towards getting a laundromat. I'll be honest, I was not I'm not super into the vending thing. However, after talking with Michael / Mr. Passive, I was very intrigued by the direction the vending industry is going too. So we talk a lot about the future of the vending industry and some new vending products that I didn't even know existed that are pretty cool that might go really well in your laundromats. Okay, with that said, let's jump into it with Michael Hoffman, Mr. Passive, right after this exciting announcement / advertisement for you. What's up, laundromat owners? I have got the opportunity of a lifetime for you. One of our partners, Business Marketing Resource, is giving you the chance to have the ultimate edge in 2025. And all you have to do is fill out a form. Here's what it is. One lucky winner is going to get a fully built custom website and a full branding package from Business Marketing Resource, professionally designed to help your business stand out and attract more customers than ever before. Here's all you got to do. Head to Build with BMR, BMR for Business Marketing Resource, buildwithbmr.com/win, fill out the form, and that's it. You're in the running. And in fact, on February 18th, in this podcast, I'm going to announce the winner of the full custom built website and the full branding package for free for one of you guys. Listen, I love putting together something with a partner of ours that gives to you guys, helps you run your businesses better, and Business Marketing Resource really stepping it up with a full custom built website and branding package. But wait, there's more. There's also going to be secondary prizes going out to everybody, probably some discounts and some other stuff. And you know what? I feel like the last name drawn out of the hat probably should get a poster of me on the beach in the Speedo that Dave Mintz got me. That will be free of charge for the last name drawn. Look forward to that. I don't know if you want the first place or the last place now because they seem pretty close in value there. I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that to anybody, but don't miss this incredible opportunity to level up your business with a professional website and a full branding package. Set your laundromat up to dominate your market. Enter today. Again, buildwithbmr.com/win. And hey, let's get out there and make 2025 the year that we change our lives. I love it. I am super excited to have Michael Hoffman, aka Mr. Passive, here on the show today. We're going to talk about some passive income streams and specifically what I would consider a gateway drug to laundromats today. But Michael, man, thank you for coming on the show. Super excited to have you here. How you doing?
Jordan, fired up to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm fired up too. And, I've been looking forward to this one because this is a little bit different from what the normal stuff is. However, I will say, man, I get questions about vending and vending routes. And, it's like something that's in a very similar vein as laundromats in terms of cash flow wise and, being able to make it more passive than a lot of other businesses, but it's a lower entry point when it comes to cost a lot of times. So I think a lot of people are interested in this and will enjoy this episode. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on you and who you are and how you became Mr. Passive, and then we'll jump into it from there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. So I think from my side, the big thing was fresh out of college, I was in human performance and collegiate athletics working 80, 90 hours a week. And I remember Sunday afternoons, during the football season, you don't have a day off. And I was at work on a Sunday after we played Saturday. And I was like, what am I doing? I just calculated, I was literally making $1,200 a month at the time in 2011. And I was like factoring in my per hour rate. And I was like, this is below minimum wage. So I went down this path like a classic entrepreneur of how do I earn with my mind, not my time. And started in real estate, like most people do. And at the end of the day, like with real estate, I couldn't keep affording to put another down payment on another home. The great thing about vending.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you do like long-term rental? What do you mean you did real estate? What was that?
Yeah. So my first rental in 2012 was at, a $70,000 home in the Midwest that rented out for $900. And I was pocketing after expenses and property management fees and all that, maybe 200. I just knew the 1% rule. So I was like, okay, I bought it for $70K. It's renting for $900. I'm over the 1%. So the numbers will make sense. And, $14,000 down payment on a $70K home was a lot for someone making $1,200 a month. So
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So I just kind of got addicted to that, like every month getting a deposit to my account for that rental and wanted to scale it more without having to do down payments every time, which led me to vending.
Yeah. Sorry, I think an ambulance is going by.
No worries.
Chaos over here. First of all, like kudos to you for being able to get that down payment down. Like that's a year's worth of salary plus there. So
yeah.
That's a big deal. Were you like living at home at the time? Like how were you saving that much money to get that going?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of, just kind of disciplined option. I had a roommate and we lived very, very simple lifestyle. And I dipped into my emergency fund, not going to lie, to help with the down payment. So there was a little risk like any entrepreneur. And that's kind of what led me down this path.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And just, again, not to make this all kind of too far real estate, but you mentioned you bought in the Midwest. Were you living in the Midwest or was this an out-of-state rental that you did?
Yeah, no, I was living in the Midwest at the time. So I was living in St. Louis. I got the rental there in 2012. And then 2 years later, I got a call like, hey, do you want to move out to the Silicon Valley and work for a tech startup in the human performance space? And at the time I was going through a breakup in my personal life. So I was like, let's go West. And
clean slate. That's right.
Oh man, I didn't really
West Coast, best coast anyways. Come on.
Yeah. But Palo Alto is probably the most expensive city in the world. So I didn't really,
I lived there 8 years too. Yeah.
Oh man, Phil's Coffee is the place.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what led me west. And now I live in Oregon.
Awesome. Do you still have that house or did you sell it?
I sold it in 2021, right at the peak of COVID. And actually 1031 it into a vacation rental in Bend, Oregon.
Dude, I also love Bend, Oregon. Bend is great. Dang, man, floating down the river. So good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry I derailed us a little bit. You said, okay, you kind of got addicted to that paycheck. And then how did you come across vending?
Yeah, so for that company in Palo Alto that I was working for, it required a lot of travel. So I was going everywhere from New Zealand to South Africa and basically anywhere where there was an elite sports organization or special operations unit. And long story short,
real quick, it's kind of weird that we never crossed paths, being an elite athlete myself. That's just kind of weird. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, we might have. We just don't know it. You never know. You might have bought something from one of my vending machines. Or something.
Yeah, maybe that's probably the only way we'd have crossed paths. I'm no elite athlete over here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the classic grinding for a software company out of the Bay and being in the Valley, you're hustling, as you know. And so I was on the road 3 weeks out of the month, and I'd be in these airports, and of course, flight delays. And you have that. I remember one time I was in the Denver airport, 11 p.m. Flight delayed. Pilots can't take off to get us back because they are over time and blah, blah, blah. And of course, I'm hungry and there's nothing around that's open. So I go to the machine that's sitting there, and I'm like, someone's literally charging me $5 for a bottle of water. And I know it costs like 20 cents at Costco, and they're clearly sleeping at home, making money off me while I'm at this machine. And so that lit a fire in me to learn more. And I literally self-taught myself ever since.
Dude, that's awesome. And that's like, speaking of classic entrepreneur that you already mentioned, is like, that's classic entrepreneur, right? It's like looking at something that's like, hey man, this solves a problem, because here I am with the problem and somebody else is solving it for me at a pretty good profit. And like you said, they're napping. They're not stuck at an airport traveling, trying to, slave away the 9 to 5. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but classic entrepreneur stuff right there happening.
Yeah.
What really intrigues me about vending is that you can make good money doing it, but it's relatively low upfront cost, right? If you're buying a laundromat, there are ways to buy them or get them for low money down and stuff like that, but they are the riskiest ways to get in the business by far. But vending, relatively inexpensive to get going, but I feel like you've got to kind of know what you're doing. How did you, can you tell us about your first deal and like
absolutely
I guess not a deal, but your first vending machine that you purchased, where you put it and how it went and all that stuff?
Yeah. And Jordan, this is what really got me down this path. Was I went into an apartment complex right down the road of where we live. And I was like, hey, do you guys offer any snacks to your residents? And they're like, oh, this is right before COVID. They're like, oh, no, we don't. We'd be open to putting a vending machine in our social lounge where the pool table and everything is. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, I can do that. And keep in mind, I didn't know where I was going to find a machine. I didn't even know. I just went in classic, hey, solve a problem for you, figure it out later type of thing. And I didn't even know at the time you could finance machines. So then she's like, yeah, we want a machine in this apartment complex. So I literally went to Google and I typed in vending machines for sale. And the only company that popped up in my search that wasn't from China was a company out of Des Moines, Iowa. And I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Iowa originally. So I was like, okay, Midwest values. I can trust this company. I called them up and they're like, hey, we actually provide machines at no money down. Finance it to you over 60 months, just like a car. And your first payment's not due for 90 days after the machine arrives. So then I was like, wait, I'm going to do 90 days of sales at this machine before my first $112 a month payment is due on a $6,000 machine. No money out of pocket. So all I had to pay for was the $300 to $400 to stock the machine, a credit card reader to put on it, which now they just bake into the financing. And that was it. And right away I was doing like $20 a day. Then after a month or two, I was doing $25 a day when people knew the machine was there. And then I started doing $30 a day. And now with this whole unattended retail revolution that's going on, I think it's going to be 40 plus billion by 2026. So in 2 years, like just, you go through an airport now, these Hudson bookstores literally have no employees. They're just AI cameras and checkout kiosks.
Yep.
But that's kind of where so I swapped out that machine, just a traditional vending machine, was doing $1,200 a month. I was profiting 50%. So cost of goods was about 30 to 35%. I would hire a stalker at $20 an hour to go by there twice a week. So right away I was profiting $500-600. So I was cash flowing more than my rentals. And so I was like, this is really interesting. And then I got into this whole concept of like smart machines and micro markets and the whole, you go to a Marriott and they have the grab and go over to the left, but like there's no checkout kiosk. And it didn't make sense when I would go stay out of Marriott and I grab a bottle of water and then I had to go wait in line at the check-in desk behind 4 people checking in. I was like, I just want a water. Just do a room charge. It can't be that hard. Why am I waiting for 20 minutes? So back to classic entrepreneur and friction and trying to remove it, I went down this path of smart machines and micro markets. And that location, the apartment complex, I was doing $1,200 with a traditional machine. I swapped it out with a smart machine, which is just think of it as like a locked fridge with AI cameras. You unlock the door with a credit card, and then you can grab 15 different things rather than enter in the code and watch the motor spiral down a Snickers bar and you have to reach. Now you unlock the door, open it up, grab whatever you want. Well, my transaction values started to 3x at the same location. So now that location doing $1,200 with a traditional machine was now doing $2,500. And so I was just like, wow, there's something to this. And we've talked about it before with like laundromats and stuff for sale. Well, nowadays, a lot of these baby boomers are trying to sell vending routes for sale. And they just have the old school Pepsi machine. So there's a whole like flipping homes concept to vending that you could do right now if you really wanted to do it. But a lot of the people we help them find locations wherever they live and help them build the route. And then if they want to like parlay that to buying routes with some capital, they can do that. But yeah, it's just been a fascinating journey.
So I've owned vending machines in laundromats, never a vending route. One of the things I hated was having to get the inventory, and then it just always took longer than you would think. Maybe not that you would think, but that I thought beforehand to actually do the restocking and stuff. I'm like pumped to hear that you hired somebody pretty early on to do that stuff. How hard was that to find somebody? How did you find somebody to actually do that for you?
See, I'm very, maybe it's the software mindset in me from living in the Bay, but I want to learn something so I know what to delegate, and then I want to make it as passive as possible. And in fact, we have an ad running on Craigslist all the time for stalkers because we're constantly scaling. But yeah, I mean, it was super simple. The great thing is, like, if you look at Craigslist, for example, for job ads, they have what's called a gig section, which is like your Uber Eats, DoorDashy type jobs where it's like, hey, you just turn on the app and you work when you want to work type of thing. And that's where I post these. I'm like, I don't care if you're an early riser and you want to stalk at 5 a.m, like one of our stalkers does, who's a teacher, or you're a night owl and you want to stalk at 10 p.m. while you're listening to some tunes and whatever. Yeah, I always start out like $20 an hour typically. And then after 90 days, if they do a good job, might bump it up to $25 an hour. And then after a year, maybe give them a percent of profits. And then after 2 years, maybe give them a percentage of equity in the route.
Nice. So you're really trying to incentivize these guys to stay and curb that turnover. Because I mean, the turnover kills. We feel that a lot in the laundromats. I mean, any of those sort of like low paying, jobs that really anybody can't, like a lot of people don't want to, but anybody can really do it. They're just hard to keep good employees, hard to find and hard to keep good employees. But I like that there's a path of progress there for employees. And I think it's pretty genius. And since your margins are so high on the vending side, giving up, doing a profit share, or even like an equity split kind of makes sense. I mean, do you mind sharing like profit, like what you offer once they get to that point?
Yeah, 5%. And then
Nice.
Equity, you can set it up where it's like 5% over 4 years. So it's just like a standard like vesting schedule.
Yeah.
So you kind of incentivize the long term. And that's what I did. The guy that I hired to stock my first 2 machines, he was working 3 hours a week to start. And that included stocking the machines and then also going to Costco at the time. And now he's been with me 5 years and he's on a full-time salary and everything.
I love that. Where are you getting inventory these days? I mean, I know, I've done like the wholesale store, the Jetros and, that kind of thing. I've done Costco. Where do you normally get your stuff?
Yeah. So we pounded the pavement initially with Costco and doing the whole variety packs of Celsius and Frito-Lay and all that.
Yeah.
But as part of, so we've built a pretty robust vendingpreneur community in our community. And so what I've actually built out recently is a vend market, which is a market where they can go in and order product through us. And then we have partners with distribution channels to get them the product, whether that's, okay, they're ordering Pepsi product and we have a deal with Pepsi, both on the Frito-Lay side, but also on the bottler side to get them that product. And then the great thing about that versus going to Costco or Sam's is then we can offer rebates back to our vendingpreneurs versus, if you go to Costco and you order Poppy, you're not getting any rebate. Where now with our new, think of it as Amazon for vending snacks. Now, if you get Poppy through us, you're going to get a rebate back on that purchase.
Killer. I mean, that's like the power of having a community like that too, right? Is you can start developing these relationships with the vendors.
It's buying power. Yeah.
Yeah. And pass those savings on to people. And like, that's one of the things that I try to advocate for in our industry is like, hey, like we're stronger, we're better together. We can go farther and faster when we're together. And that's part of it, right? Is that there's power in the collective there. So that's killer. I love that. Yeah. Okay, let me back up. I was going to ask you about, let me back up and just say, okay, so you've got a couple machines, at some point you've got your guy who's stocking, he's working a few hours a day. What kinds of locations did you look for then? And has that evolved over time since you've been doing this? What kinds of locations to look for now to put these things?
I think that's a really good question. The simplest way is I look for a full parking lot. If the parking lot's full, it's going to be a good location, whether that's the YMCA, a school, any type of business with a lot of workers. The second piece to that is if there is long hours there. So like for us, for example, we have a pumpkin farm we work with, and they actually have 3 shifts a day. So they have a night shift. So we'll have people get off work at 7 a.m. and they're getting like all our pastries and Sunny D. And then the 7 a.m. shift starts, and then we'll have our lunch guys that'll get all their lunch snacks, like, Lunchables, sandwiches, whatever. And then we'll have another afternoon shift. So I think anything that's like 24/7, like an urgent care, I don't know, a vet hospital, think of like those places where there's a lobby and there's always going to be foot traffic, or the flip side is there's a lot of workers and they're there a long time.
Dude, I love the full parking lot method. Like you need to like trademark that. Like that's genius. I love that because it's just a simple way to know if a location's good. One of the things in laundromats, right? I'm like, look for, stores that are similar to that our demographic is going to want to go to. So like, Walmart's 99-cent stores, Dollar Generals, fast food restaurants, Dollar Tree, all the dollar whatevers, fast food restaurants, like they have done all the hard work of researching like where their locations are going to succeed. And we reach a similar demographic. So just use their research dollars to do it. And the full parking lot method is killer. That's the same concept.
Well, and then even to take it a step further, when people get the location and now the machine's arriving and they're like, hey, I'm Jordan, I live in Hawaii, what should I set the prices in my machine? The first thing I say is go find the nearest convenience store to that apartment complex you're going to put the machine, and just walk through the aisles and observe the prices. And like don't reinvent the wheel. These convenience stores have done the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here's what you got to do is you have to name these methods that you have here. Cause I just find that once you give it a name, like the grocery store method or maybe something cooler, or the parking lot method or whatever, like it becomes like a thing, like that's killer. Super powerful. Yeah. I love that. You're right. Like you're dead on with the grocery store thing, because they do their stuff, and the benefit you have is that you don't have a lot of the overhead those grocery stores have when you have a vending machine, and you've got that convenience factor as well. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you got a couple of machines, it sounds like maybe you caught the fever a little bit after you got a couple of them, and you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. I see what's going on. I need to get more of these. What was your kind of method of growing? Like, how do you scale this business?
Yes, there's a couple angles there, but you're right. I was literally that first machine doing $500 a month in profit. I was like, wow, I'm making more than my rental. And I didn't do any money down other than the $300 of snacks inventory.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's parlay this. So, I think the first thing, I'm a big believer in a warm intro is better than 10 cold. So, a lot of these people will ask like, oh, well, what about revenue share? And so if I ever get that question, I'll parlay it. So like that apartment complex that was like, hey, do you do revenue share? The first thing I said is, yeah, absolutely, but not normally until we get 5+ of your sister properties. And so right away, I was able to parlay my route to 2 of her sister properties because she wanted a revenue share for her property, and it made her look good with her sister properties because she was bringing a amenity to the properties that they didn't have. So she kind of looked like it was her personal win. So that's a big thing I do is I parlay happy customers into referrals. I think that's the easiest one. And then I'm a huge believer in face-to-face, like pop-in. So if the parking lot's full, what's stopping you from... Well, the great thing is, if the market's already saturated with vending machines, it doesn't matter because these newer machines, newer market concepts are just such a disruptive thing that even if they have a Coke machine, now they want fresh food. Now they want incidentals. Like we sell a ton of laundry pods at our apartment complex. I mean, you know the deal.
Yeah.
But it used to be you had to get like a laundry specific vending machine. Now that's not, it's shelf space and whatever fits on the shelf, whether that's, we have a CrossFit gym that'll put huge cases of protein jugs in their machine.
Yeah. It is game changing and kind of revolutionary, which, it leads me to my next question, which is where I was trying to jump to earlier and I didn't want to jump too soon, but let's say, okay, first of all very compelling arguments here, and I'm feeling that shiny object syndrome starting to tingle over here.
You're thinking about your laundromats and where you're going to put a machine.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Well, the laundromats they got machines. If I either have a little convenience store, or I got machines, so those are taken care of. But I'm like, well, what else can I do here?
Yeah,
and they don't have the smart machines in them. So, yeah. But let's say I want to get started, right? Do you think it's better to start with like just your classic vending machine, or do I jump straight to one of these smart machines from the get-go?
I think you're kind of looking at it wrong. And the reason why I say that is I'll have people reach out to me and say like, hey, I got 3 of these outdoor machines. And I'm like, okay, great. What's the revenue per machine? And they're like, oh, they're sitting in my garage. And I'm like, you've
zero.
Gone, yeah, exactly. So 0. Yeah. But that's where I think it's very location dependent. Like if I was in a beach town that had a lot of surfers and everyone goes and parks in this parking hub to go surfing and just go to the beach. And it's the parking lot that's always full to the beach. And I wanted to approach the county or the city for a machine. I might put an outdoor machine near the bathroom or the public area, congregation area. I might put an outdoor machine there that holds, surfing wax and whatever kind of things other than drinks. So Speedos. Like there, yeah, exactly. So there, yeah, Speedos. So in that situation, it's going to have to be an outdoor machine where, if it's somewhere that's indoor in a mall, like rather than just go with a normal Coke machine in the mall, the elements aren't an issue. These smart machines with the locks now, you don't have to worry about thefts. You're kind of missing out on the more transactions, and it's not like it's that much harder. You're setting the prices, you're doing pricing psychology type decisions, whether it's a old school machine or a new machine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I've seen like in the airports and stuff, you've got almost like little convenience stores where you pull stuff off the shelves, or, there's some of the Amazon stores and stuff like that. I don't know that I've really seen, or maybe I haven't, I just didn't recognize it as a vending machine, but I don't really know that I've seen one of these smart vending where you're doing that. It seems like one of the risks is somebody doesn't like latch the door all the way after their transaction, and like somebody else comes in and swoops up a bunch of stuff that the last person has to pay for. Something like what? How does it work? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah. So visually, think of it this way: you go into a convenience store and you go over to the aisle of coolers where they have all the sodas, and you open up the black fridge cooler door to grab your buy one, get one free Dr. Pepper. Well, that same exact fridge, it's the same exact manufacturer as these smart machines. What they do is they put a point of sale kiosk right on that door. So that door is now locked. So if you take that fridge out of there and throw it in the hallway of the school, you got this black commercial fridge with a point of sale on the door. It's locked. To unlock that door, the student at the school has to take mom's credit card, put it on the door. It'll authorize it. So if you have like a gift card with $5 of funds, or you try to like cheat it, it's not going to authorize it to unlock the door. Once that door is unlocked, there's AI cameras in the machine that have a planogram set. And so okay, top left is a 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. Bottom right is a big bag of Doritos. And so if I grab a Dr. Pepper and a Doritos, when I walk away from that machine, it's got the door hinges will shut the machine by itself. But when I walk away, I will get a transaction for the items that were taken from the machine. So you're right. We'll have people, especially apartment complexes, a great example of this happens a lot in Houston with one of our vendingpreneurs. We'll have people that will use these machines as their like grocery store trip. And they'll like empty the whole machine with like a $400 transaction because they're so lazy that they'll just seriously, you'll watch them because these AI cameras, they'll walk up to the machine with a laundry bag and they'll just start filling it. And then they'll walk away and it'll be like a $350 transaction.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm immediately going to some of the nightmares I've had with like chargebacks for laundry and stuff. How big of a problem is that with the vending?
You mean with the merchant processors?
Yeah. The credit card companies, saying they just bought like a soda, not $350 worth of stuff, or something like that. I mean, obviously that's going to happen. But how big of an issue is it?
Well, it's on the machine company because and the great thing is the cameras are monitoring what they grab. So this is the whole, you're paying a software fee. Typically it's around 5% from these machine, like a tech fee. So there'll be times where, they might miss an item and your inventory list catches it on the back end in the dashboard. And so they have to reimburse you for that item, but it's not, you're still, even with 5% shrinkage or 5%, I guess, theft or whatever you want to call it, we still are factoring that into our 50% profit margins.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So as you're kind of like growing your vending company and you're scaling to full parking lot locations and you're dialing in your mix of, outdoor machines, indoor machines, smart machines, all that stuff. How do you choose? I mean, I guess the obvious question is like, how do you know what to put in your machines, or how do you know, what people are going to like? Is that something you just play around with until you find the right mix, or what's the strategy there?
Yeah. So I think the framework is going to be about 80% the same. I'm a huge believer in if it weighs more, you can charge more. So rather than like the 1 ounce bag of chips or even
See what I'm talking about? This is the kind of stuff you need to like, God, you need to trademark this stuff. God, that's great.
Yeah, no, now you got my head spinning on that.
Yeah, no, man, this is great stuff. Yeah.
But like, that's why I love movie theaters. If you ever go to a movie theater with your family, they're not giving you the small bag of M&Ms. You're getting the big box of king size M&Ms. And that's what we go with our machines. Like, we don't want the transaction value to be a $2 Snickers. We want you to get, like, nowadays there's these, I haven't even had them, but there's these Skittles gummies. And so they're not your normal Skittles bag. They're like these bigger bags of Skittles gummies. And it's Skittles, but it's like basically gummy bears, but anyway, these bags are huge. And we'll charge $6.75 for a bag of Skittles gummies that we get at Walmart for $2.75.
Yeah, dude. I love that. If it weighs more, you can charge. I wrote it down. I'm like writing down all your quotes here, and I'm fully expecting these to be trademarked at some point. So I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
I think honestly, like I think that'll even just boost business more. Basically making frameworks out of them. It's great. I'm getting excited for you and your online business now.
Yeah.
Even as I'm getting excited about vending here, dude, this is awesome. So I'm curious, like, if I want to get started with this, what do I need in place? Like, how much money do I need? Are there relationships I need? Obviously, joining Vendingpreneurs is going to help me tremendously. And I always recommend, like, if you're starting any kind of business or investment or something like that, get into some sort of community that helps you get started. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find the people who already have the playbook and just use their playbook and start off running. But aside from joining Vendingpreneurs, what do I need to get started here?
Yeah, I think the first thing is you need to start tapping into your network. And we all know people, whether that's like my daughter's school or your friend, like I have 2 kids under 3. So we're going to a lot of birthday parties these days. So we'll go to like an arcade and I'll be like, oh my gosh, look at the congregation of kids and parents here. Again, it's a full parking lot. So like, I just come back to, I think before you think about what type of machine, or do I go with the smart machine or just try to learn it with an old school, simpler machine? Come back to like, go start having conversations with some of your network and then just try to create a win-win, whether that's like a small revenue share. Now you know the margins. So what you can maybe get away with of 5% back to them, or 5% if they bring us in and intro you to 2 other schools type of thing. So I'm a business development guy at heart. So like I would start on the front end with tapping into your network first and then figuring out the operational side on the back end. And I'm a huge believer in, like you said, masterminds and things that are going to help me avoid the speed bumps that others have already gone through. So like even the laundromat thing, it's like, if I'm going down that path, I know who I'm going to first, because I don't want to deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first machine I bought on Craigslist and it broke within 6 months, and I'll never buy another machine on Craigslist. So like those type of headaches I would have never known.
Yeah. Yeah. So many lessons learned the hard way, where I'm like, and I say all the time, like, if me back then could have talked for 15 minutes with me today, it would have saved me 6 figures, like easy. Yeah, like I'm a huge fan of that. So, okay, last question I think I have, unless you think there's anything else we need to talk about, is, I'm kind of curious about these smart machines, but can you give me like a ballpark? Like, what are these things running these days, ballpark wise?
Yeah, so they're probably, and my hesitation is the shipping. So if you're shipping it to Hawaii versus Oregon, it's going to be a little bit different in price. Yeah. But these machines, I think they're like $6K. We obviously negotiate a purchasing power in the community that gives them 10% off. And then, if you get bulk orders too, if you get 3, 4, 5 locations and you're ordering 4 or 5 machines at one time, you're going to get another discount. If you do like $6K, let's say you finance that over 48, 60 months, you're looking at whatever, even at whatever the interest rates are on that. I mean, you're looking at let's say $50 monthly payment on a machine that should be doing $1,500 a month minimum, and just kind of parlays from there.
$6,000 is a lot less than I was anticipating, actually.
Yeah, it's literally a commercial refrigerator that's got a point of sale on the door, and it's only going to get cheaper because more players are coming. I was just at the National Vending Conference in Dallas, and I mean, everything coming out of China now, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just a race to the bottom, there's going to be, I mean, you're already seeing it. There's like Sprinkles vending machines. There's like nail polish vending machines in the LAX airport. I'm like, what is this? Is what? But
they have like shoes, like for women who wearing heels and their feet get sore. They have like AirPods and electronics in the airport, like all that. Yeah, man, anything.
There's a Lego vending machine in O'Hare, and there isn't a Lego set in that machine less than $75. But if you think about the parent flying across the country with their kid, they're going to be like, 6 hours of my kid being distracted, I'll pay $75.
Yeah, man, it is interesting. It's a huge part of why I wanted you on the show, is because there is, and you think of like Japan, right? Japan is like I think it's just a vending nation. Like they vend everything. And not only that, but like I see in the laundromat industry, which I think is kind of interesting, I see this like bifurcation of the industry, and like half the industry is going to full service laundry center. We do drop off, we do pickup and delivery. We'll take your dry cleaning. We do it all, self-serve, everything. We do it all high touch, high service, high value, high price. And then on the other side, I see kind of more this vending model where maybe they're not attended, and maybe there's, you know, an iPad on the wall where you can, if you've got a problem, you can, you know, talk to an AI. And if the AI can't solve your problem, they send you to, you know, somebody to help you out in the Philippines or something, right? Like, I think there's an interesting kind of dynamic happening. And so as we talk about vending machines, I almost start to see some laundromat models moving that way also, which is really interesting, I think. Yeah. And not only that, but, you know, just as I was talking, sorry, I know I'm rambling here, but I was in Europe last year, and, you know, you take the train or whatever and you hop off the train, and right outside the train at the train station is 2 washers and 3 dryers, like a vending machine, like outside, just kind of all attached together as one, basically a vending machine for laundry. So that model is there also. Yeah. So
I mean, it's convenient. It's convenience. And
yeah,
you know, I was reading an article last night about this whole like AI revolution and ultimately what you call like agents, AI agents that you're talking to that you don't know is a bot, but it is. But I mean, right now, vending, unattended retail, like there is going to be convenience stores where you put your credit card on the door, walk in, and they have 100 cameras tracking. It's already here in basketball and NFL stadiums. Like the concourse, you go grab your hot dog and your beer. It's through the little gate that opens up with your credit card. Like it's here to stay. And so I'm a huge believer in this whole unattended thing, whether that's laundromats or vending or anything that I see it all the time with hotels now. You go to call to check in or make an appointment, and the person at the Marriott is not in the US that you're talking to. And pretty soon it's going to be a bot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's very interesting, but that's why I think there's like this interesting dynamic, because I think you're absolutely right. Like there's more and more of that coming, but that also leaves an opportunity for the high touch. You know, I think of like, I'm on the phone with trying to get, you know, right now I'm like streaming this on my hotspot from my phone because the internet just went down. I woke up this morning, internet's down. It's been down all day, right? But I go on trying to talk to Spectrum, trying to get my internet done, and I got to go through all these bots that can't solve my problem before I finally talk to somebody who can, right? So there's also a huge opportunity for the high touch model in a lot of these industries, and an opportunity to charge a premium for that high touch too, right? So I think it's really interesting. But the vending thing is, you know, they're vending everything now. And I think I think you're right. I think only more of that is coming. And the AI technology, I hear that talked about a lot in like this AI revolution, but I think talked about a little bit less, but equally crazy and equally transformative, I think, is a robotics revolution. And when those two things start getting paired up together, I think it changes a lot of the games that we're playing right now. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Listen, man, this has been actually like super fun and super inspiring. I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to ask, hey, if other people are feeling the shiny object tingle, or maybe they are just not at a point where they're ready to buy a laundromat yet, but vending is within their reach here, where can they go to learn more about you and your community and what you guys have to offer and how to jumpstart their journey in the vending space?
Yeah. So if they want to get kind of a from the ground feedback on what we offer, they can go to vendingpreneurs.com and schedule a free call with one of our vendingpreneurs and just kind of learn what it's all about, how to make it passive, all those kind of fun things. If they just want to follow like my free advice and see, you know, just curious, YouTube's probably the easiest place to find me with getting more in depth. So they can go to my YouTube channel. So either of those options would be great.
Is your YouTube called Vendingpreneur also?
I think it's Mr. Passive. I'll have to send you that. I always forget. I get them mixed up because like my Instagram one's separate than my Twitter one, which, you know, they can go there too. But like, I think YouTube, you get a more thorough, like how to type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have all the links. If you're on YouTube watching this now, we'll have all the links down below. If you're listening to this on the podcast, go to the show notes page and we'll have the links to vendingpreneurs.com and then also the YouTube channel and all the other socials too. If you're more of a Twitter, are you on Blue Sky yet? That's like
I'm not. Do you recommend it?
I mean, I'm not any kind of expert. To me, it looks like Twitter, and I think maybe it's for Twitter for people who are mad about what's happening on Twitter, maybe. But I'm not positive. But, it's the new rage. You never know which one of these things is going to pop off. So,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on the show, man, and sharing so much really good stuff. Like I said, super inspiring, super informative. And check out vendingpreneurs.com and in the YouTube channel that we don't know the name of yet, but we will by the time this comes out, and we'll have that for you. But appreciate it, man. A lot of fun.
Likewise. Yeah, Jordan, this was awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll have to do more together in the future because I think there's a lot of synergy there, and you're doing a lot of really cool stuff. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Sounds good, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan.
Okay, I hope that you loved that episode with Mr. Passive, Michael Hoffman. I know I did. I was surprisingly psyched about vending machines by the time that episode was over. Maybe you were too. I don't know. If you were, I would love to hear your thoughts on vending. So shoot me an email, jordan@laundromatresource.com, and let me know what you're thinking about vending. And if you have any other things that are working vending wise, because I was very intrigued by it actually. But anyways, hopefully you got a ton out of that. And listen, we're back next week. We've got an incredible episode next week. Cannot wait to share it with you. And again, head over to buildwithbmr.com/win so that you can get that full website design and full branding package for free, hopefully, fingers crossed for you. And even if not that, maybe you can get that Speedo poster. Who knows? All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.